Morning, guys. So I gave you these two problems. We had a lot of questions. Some people were struggling. What I was asking you to do is to graph both of these quadratics just as we had done a few weeks ago using the vertex and now specifically using the x-intercepts. Now in this problem here, the x-intercepts will be easy to find because this quadratic is factorable. This quadratic is not factorable. That means we won't be able to use the x-intercepts. So I asked you just to plug in two other points. Here's what my work looked like. So for the first one, I went ahead and I factored the quadratic to find my x-intercepts. So I found that my x-intercepts were over here at 4 and at -2. Then I used the formula to find a vertex of a quadratic, which is -b over 2a for the x value, and then you plug that value back into the function to find the y value. So I plugged in the x, got 1, plugged in y, got -9, so my vertex is at 1, -9. So there's the vertex at 1, -9. There are my two x-intercepts, and then I plotted some other points so I could have a nice parabola. So that was just a way to graph this parabola. Now for the other one, I knew it wasn't factorable, so I went through, did the vertex, got -1, -1, and then I created a table like what we had done in the past, and I just plugged in a point greater than -1 and a point less than -1 that were equal distance away. So I got -2 and 0. When I plugged those in, I got 1. So when I plot those points, I get my vertex. I have my two other points, but I don't know those x-intercepts. I asked you to approximate, so I'm saying it's at about -1.6 and at about -0.3. But I don't know this because my graph isn't very good. So what I would need to do to actually find those values, since factoring is not an option, I need to use our handy-dandy quadratic formula. Now you may remember using this. It's x equals -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, and it's all over 2a. Now I prefer this bottom version because sometimes the -b and the 2a can simplify, and we're going to be getting into simplifying square roots next week. But for now, just plug it all into a calculator, and you should be getting two answers back. That's the whole plus or minus thing. The first one would be -b over 2a plus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And then the other one would be -b over 2a minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay? So that's how we're going to use the quadratic formula. Now your assignment for today is going to be to find the exact values of the x-intercepts for number 2 using the quadratic formula. So here's that formula again. And remember, the leading coefficient is your a value. So wherever you see an a, you're going to plug in 2. Your linear term, your middle term, your b term is 4. So wherever you see a b, you're going to plug in 4. And then your last term, your constant, your y-intercept, is c, where you're going to plug in for c. All right, so you only have that one problem, and I'm looking for answers that are probably going to be around -1.6 and -0.3, just because that's how I'm approximating based off of my graph. Good luck, guys.